Hey guys, I'm Emily Powers, and today we're going to be painting the Eiffel Tower. You can see the picture up in the corner there. It's going to be done in acrylics, and it's probably going to be a little bit harder just because the sky is a little harder, and the tower itself, it's got a lot of lines and things, but I'm not going to do it super realistic. I think I'm going to try to simplify the sky. If you get a few lines off of the Eiffel Tower, as long as it looks like the Eiffel Tower, it's okay. So it doesn't have to be perfect. This is a 9 by 12 inch canvas panel. It's a Phoenix canvas panel. And the colors I'm using are titanium white, cadmium yellow medium, phthalo green, and this is primary cyan because I ran out of the phthalo blue I normally use. But I've got all these other kinds of blues I don't use a whole lot, so this will just kind of show, if you don't have a certain blue, you can use something else. So even if it doesn't look exactly, can look close. So, and really I don't know really exactly how this color mixes with other things, so it'll be experimenting. This is burnt sienna and burnt umber, and I'm using a lot of different brushes, more than I normally use. But if you don't have these exact ones, you can just use whatever you have, and really I may not even use all of them. Whatever I do end up using, the colors and the brushes, if I add something or say I'm going to use something and don't, whatever I do end up using should be in the description box below, unless I accidentally leave it out. So sorry, so things dropping everywhere. Okay, so this is a 1 inch bright, can't think. So that's just for the main, first parts where you got large areas to cover. And then a 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch Deerfoot for the clouds and the trees. And then the same size as 3/8 inch and 1/4 inch Lunar Blenders for the clouds too. And then I've got a 1/4 inch flat for the buildings and roads, flat things I need more of a square edge for. And then just my small round that I use. This is the #1 round in the Princeton Velvet Touch line that I like using. Okay, so I guess I can just start with my 1 inch bright. And really, I don't think I'm going to draw out the horizon line because it's kind of buildings and it's kind of, it's not a straight horizon line, so we don't need to put it in straight. It's just going to be, this is half. This is the 1/4 inch. It'll be just kind of right there, right below the 1/4 inch. That's kind of where that is. So I'm going to get my white and blue. So the white and the primary cyan. And really, this looks a lot like the phthalo blue to me. If I played with it a little more, I might could tell some more differences, but it actually looks a lot like it. So that looks, I might add a little bit of burnt sienna, just to tone it down, make it not just bright blue, but kind of gray it out just barely. You can hardly tell it's in there. And put it in. So really we just kind of want to cover the whole sky with it. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm doing a new video every Friday. I post a new video every Friday. And do easier paintings like for beginners, and then some harder things in case you want to kind of improve. Don't, it'll be a little bit harder than the easy beginner ones, and it'll be a little bit more challenging than those. But I don't want to make them too hard. Like this one, I don't want to have to fool with the sky for as long as I might if I wasn't doing a video, so I'm going to simplify it. But we do, I do like landscapes or seascapes, and animals, flowers, and I'm kind of wanting to do some that would be like, because even the beginner ones, they may be a little long for kids, so I kind of want to figure out something to do that would be like really super short and easy for kids. It's kind of something I want to do, so we'll see if I can figure that out. So so you see it's streaking, like certain areas are a little more gray from the burnt sienna, other parts are like brighter blue, other parts are like white. I'm going to take some white and just streak it in like right in here. That's where like the bright clouds are. And the streaking will actually look like clouds. You can see it already looks like clouds. And really you could just like leave it at this step. You could just like kind of, do some streaks and stuff and then just leave it there. I mean, really that looks like a sky already. So you don't have to do a bunch of detailed clouds. I mean, you could do a few, you could do as many as I do. You could even, where I stop, I said I was going to try to simplify it. Wherever I stop, you could keep going. Just add colors and shapes to it. But if you're a beginner and you don't, you don't want it to be as hard, this sky would be a lot easier to do. Okay, so I'm rinsing my brush out of the blue because I don't want it to dirty up my next color. Okay, and then I'm going to get some Phthalo Green and burnt umber, and this will just be down here, and I'm just not going to really worry about where the trees are, where the road is. I'm just going to put it in just to cover up what we've got down here, just to cover the white up. Okay, so the buildings probably go higher than that, but they're yellow, so we're going to have to cover the blue. So I don't want to have to cover the blue and the green. I'm just going to kind of put it lower at the moment. You can always raise it up. We can't lower it as easy as we could raise it up, so it'd be a lot easier to keep it down there. Okay, so I'm going to rinse that out and dry the canvas with my hair dryer. That'll just speed it up. Acrylics dry pretty fast anyway, but just to, speed it up so I can keep painting, I'm going to dry it. So I'll do that, come back. Okay, so now this is dry, and you want to make sure that it's dry, because if not, it would blend with your blue, and you want to make sure that this background's dry. So I'm going to take my 3/8 inch Deerfoot, and I'm going to get some white. And normally, if I was stippling with this, I wouldn't add water, but I want my paint just to be a little bit watery. I'm going to get most of the paint off the brush, and I'm going to stick it right in here. And you see it's not doing a whole lot at the moment, but we will build it up, and the more layers we put, the thicker it'll get, and the more like clouds it'll look. So I'm just going to kind of like taking my the tip of the brush and kind of scrubbing it, taking the whole thing and scrubbing, and I'm going where I put like this lighter area. There's like a bunch of white areas in here. You don't want to like put way too much at a time. That can make it look more fake, and it'll kind of put globs of paint, and you kind of can't move it after that. It's better to like do it in layers and then do more layers to get it than to just all of a sudden have a big glob that doesn't look like a cloud. So I'm just putting the white everywhere that I see it. There's like a streak of cloud that comes this way. And really, like I said, you could leave it plain. You could just do the white and then leave it. So as long as it's not like in one of the ugly stages where it like really looks bad, you could leave it. You know, once you like it, you can leave it. You might want to add just a little bit in some areas just so that there's something there besides the blue. And there's like tons of white over here. And now we're getting into like the area where it's darker colors. So we do want some light behind it. Just want to make sure we don't, that's way too watery. Didn't mean to do that. You can see how much paint's in that brush. I don't want that. I'm gonna wipe it off. So you can see there's not as much in my brush anymore. Some down here where I have this other lighter section. So I'm just scrubbing in, and you can see because it's like so light, like there's not a whole lot of a difference than what we had when we dried it. So you can see it's going to take a lot of layers to build it up, and for a while it's not really going to look that much different. It might take you like several minutes or hours to just get the clouds in, and that's all you have is clouds. So don't like think that it should be farther along. If you rush it, it'll turn out worse. So, and actually there's some more than I put over here. And if your layers aren't building up as fast as mine, still don't glob it to try to catch up. Just pause the video, get it to where it is, and then keep going. You don't want to like feel like mine isn't getting on there as quickly, so I must be doing something wrong, because it's probably you know, sometimes it could just be the camera is making it look like there's not as much, or that there's more than there really is, because there's probably some of these places you can barely even see that I did anything. But so just do it soft, and you can work on more later. So I'm gonna get the 1/4 inch flat, and I want to start on this lower ground area. So because we need some, like right at the horizon line, there's like yellow. I'm gonna get yellow and white, and I'm adding the white because if we just put the yellow now, it would it wouldn't cover. So here, I can show you what would happen. So this is like just yellow. I have a little bit of white from that, but so let's see. So see, it's like turning it green. You know, you can see straight through it. But if we add the white, now it's covering. You can still see through, but it's a lot easier to cover. And then later we can like brighten it up. So you just kind of do some buildings. Make sure I'm going high enough. Yeah, that's pretty good. And there's like areas where there's like not anything, and then boom, there's a building. So just kind of and then in here there's like lots of yellow. And there's buildings back here behind the Eiffel Tower. And you can do your buildings taller, you know, skinnier, wider, like whatever you want to do. And it's not going to just like stop like this. It's going to have trees and things covering it, but it almost looks like a road or something's going up under the tower, but like a courtyard or something, but I don't know what that is exactly. It doesn't really have to be even because it's buildings and trees, so. Okay, and then we're gonna get some burnt umber and add it over here. I might just kind of have buildings back here and have trees. I might not even put this road because that would make it simpler. You can put the road in if you want, but it's a painting, so I can change it. So if you don't want to have to like draw things on the road and everything, you can just leave buildings back there and then trees. Make it easier. Okay, so now I'm going to get my 1/4 inch Deerfoot, and I'm not going to wet it because I want it to be stiff. I'm going to get the Phthalo Green and burnt sienna, mix those together, and then I'm going to put trees all in here. In certain areas the trees will be kind of at the building level, kind of low, and other times it'll be like way down. So like over here, there's a lot of yellow showing, so it's going to be further down. And if it's more red, it'll just be like more red trees. The trees have a little bit more red in it. I think I'll just kind of go right over. I don't think I'm going to put the road in. You can put it in, but I'm just going to kind of do it the way it'll be a little easier without having the road and everything. And I'm going to cover this up too. Just going to have it buildings along the horizon. And I'm not like a professional at this stuff, but I think it's like the reason it's like dark and then all of a sudden the buildings are yellow, I think it's probably because like a cloud is covering it, I guess, and so the sun's like going on the Eiffel Tower and the building's back here but not up here. That's what I would guess. I could be wrong, but so I'm really just going to fill it in, even though there are different color trees. There's like some purple ones and different colors. I'm just going to put the green for the moment, just to kind of cover. You can see it's like covering a lot better. I would just put the texture in there and cover up this like just flat old green land. Here we got. So if you still see some of that first layer showing, it's okay, that's why we put it down. Just try to cover, put some texture on here. Alright, so that's what I'm going to do for that part. I'm going to rinse this brush out really good in case I use it at some point for the sky. I want to make sure that I don't get green in it. So, okay, so I think I could do more on the sky now. There's still some green in there. I don't know if I'll be able to use it. I don't know, it might be okay. Alright, so I'm going to get my same 3/8 inch Deerfoot, and because this is so watered down, it's still wet. Oof. Alright, see, I got too much there, so it's enough that I can save it, but you can see it was like way a lot of paint. Alright, I'm putting some up here. I need to make sure I don't touch the corner where that green is and then touch the sky. Probably end up doing that. Okay, so you can see it's darkening, or lightening really. It's making that white brighter. And it's like all in this area is really light. Probably gonna put more layers of the white, possibly, because there's like some really light areas in here. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm gonna like take out something to simplify the sky just a little bit. And this kind of does like a Z in the sky over here. Just make sure to go off the edge of the canvas, because if you kind of like stop before you get there, it'll look like there's like no clouds around the room. So it's kind of lighter around with the white, but certain places just like go right off. All right. So I think I might try adding in some with my 3/8 inch Lunar Blender now. So I'm not gonna wet it, I'm just gonna use the same white. And so I did this one thicker. Just gonna put it in, and then once I get it kind of where I want it darkest, I'm gonna squish it around and kind of make it go where I want. So you see I just kind of laid down where I want it the brightest, right along here, and then I wipe that paint off and scrub it out. There's some comes down here. So these are to be our more our darker clouds that'll actually be like more defined. So they're gonna be a brighter color. These other ones are like more wispy, you know, faded out clouds that aren't showing up as much. And this goes like right into this area where it's like tons of white. And it's okay to just kind of show through some of the lighter area over there. I'm going to put some. I don't want it to be as thick over here. I'm just going to kind of scrub it in. Some clouds over here. Just a little bit. And there's some this way. So if you want to just go right to the Eiffel Tower, just skip ahead because this is going to be the clouds. So if you just left it plain, like I said you could, then it'll take a while to get there, so you might just want to go to that point. Okay, so there's kind of our first layer of that cloud, and there's some kind of come over here. So you can kind of do circles and kind of swirl it around, do side to side, just kind of scrub in. Just don't go into area too long because that might make it lift, and you don't want that to happen, so. And there's a little bit over here. Trying to see where I'm seeing more white than I have down. There's gonna be some thicker in here, but I need to wait until it dries to be able to layer it without it just moving around what I have. All right, so now I think I'll try putting in some of the dark ones. So I'll take the primary cyan and the burnt sienna and mix those together, and I'm going to get white. So it's like this teal color, and I don't want it teal, I want it more blue. So I'm going to take some more blue and some burnt umber. So I want it muted, but I don't want it to turn like teal like that other one did. And let's see, I'm gonna get more burnt umber with it, more blue. So I'm turning it a little bit more brown. It's not really what I want there. Let's see, let me get out. Okay, here we go. I'm going to get out Ultramarine Blue. So this is like what I said at the beginning. The supplies will be listed below if I end up adding something. So this is ultramarine, and I'm going to mix that in with this. Add some burnt umber. Just kind of mixing it's a little bit closer. Let's see. I get the burnt umber and the ultramarine, but more of the ultramarine, and I'll get a little bit of the phthalo blue, mixing a different color now. I'll lighten it just a little. Okay, that's a little bit more. Okay, there we go. That's more what I want. So I'm gonna put this strong color right in here. It's gonna go way down here. And then I'm gonna wipe most of it off and scrub the outer edge. You can see it's like very chopped up right now. We can see straight through, but that's okay. It'll get better. Clouds, if you're going to do clouds like this, you kind of have to layer them. So once you start, you have to just keep going with it. I'm going to try to make it a little bit simpler. So I'm going to get some the burnt sienna and the ultramarine blue, and I'm just going to see, what does that look like? Alright, so it's more of a purple. A little bit more purpley. And put that down in here. And I'm going back to the other blue. Okay. And I'm going to get this lighter purple, gray color we made. It's just lighter than this. And I'm going to put some, no, that's probably too early. We're going to do some more layers up there. Okay, so this is like the ugly stage where you think it's never going to get better. It will, just keep painting it and it'll get better. So you can see mine doesn't look too good either. If you skip to the end, you can see this is what mine looked like now, and then at the end it'll look more like clouds that look good. They won't look this like weird looking, like just a blob in the sky. So yours probably will at this point too. You know, I need to work on the buildings, so I'm going to get the 1/4 inch flat again, and then get the yellow. I'm going to do one more coat of it being with white, so that it'll cover over the blue. If I did it with yellow now, you could still probably see through those colors, so I'm trying to make sure you can't see through any of that. I'll get a little bit of burnt sienna just to turn it a little bit more red, and like down, see, a little bit more down below, it'll be a little bit more red. Alright. Okay, and I'm going to take some burnt umber, and you can kind of, oops, too watery, too much water in my brush. Okay, so I'm going to get the burnt umber, and you can put like shadows in the buildings, kind of, you know, stripes, or, you know, have one half that's dark and the other half's light. Kind of shade different buildings, just kind of to give it one more thing, so it's not just yellow. Kind of make it look a little bit more like buildings. Depending on where you put this, you can make it look like different buildings. In front, behind. It's like that. So now it looks actually more like buildings, just with a few brown spots. And that will really make it, this is more like impressionist style. It's not realistic, so that'll just kind of make it look more like buildings. And I'm gonna get the 1/4 inch Deerfoot, and let's see, I'm gonna take the green and the burnt sienna again and put that in these spots down here. Certain places are going to just stay really dark. Okay, and I'm going to get the yellow with the phthalo green and some white. And I'm going to put that burnt sienna mixture with it, just so it's not like so bright. Okay, and I'm going to tap in some of this brighter. And that was really probably too bright. Let me see. I'm going to get the dark color again and kind of tap over it to kind of neutralize it some, so it's not like so bright. Okay, just gonna put some in certain areas, and then I'm gonna get some of my burnt sienna and the see what color was that? Primary cyan and the ultramarine blue. Lighten it, be more purple. So I'm going to get the ultramarine blue, and these are really like a pink purple, but since I didn't have like pink on my palette, I'm just going to do it this color. So there's some like purple down here, and you could do it like red, so red trees down here, Just kind of play with it, see what color of trees you like better. And then brighten it whatever color you choose. So this is the burnt sienna. I'm gonna tap some brighter. Okay, I'm gonna get some burnt umber with the light green and the yellow. I'm gonna just do some here. You don't really have to do it, you know, any certain, just kind of make the shapes different so that it doesn't all look like the same shape. And really I should probably take the dark green again and darken that up right where the buildings are. So we can do more on the clouds. Let's see if I can get this done with this last layer. Just one more layer of cloud and maybe move on to the Eiffel Tower. Alright, so I'm taking my Deerfoot again, just so I can cover a large area. And I'm just putting that in, brightening up the areas that are white. Alright, so let's move on, and I'm going to do, let's see, I'm going to go back to the brush I did these dark areas with. That's the 3/8" Lunar Blender, and I'm going to take some of this like purple color that we made, and I don't want to have a whole lot, and right up here I'm just going to scrub some of that in. Just scrub it in a few areas of the white, just so that it kind of has, it needs to have shadows. It can't just be like all, if you want this really detailed, more detailed, not really detailed, more detailed clouds, you're going to want to have shadows and darker areas. Alright, and see, I'm going to have to mix this purple color again, so I'm going to get the Ultramarine Blue and the burnt umber and a little bit of the Phthalo Blue. Alright, so it's covering a little better now. Okay, and there's a few clouds that kind of come out over here. Alright, so now I'm going to add white to that color. It's going to be a lighter blue, blue-gray. Okay, and I'm going to put it, don't need a whole lot, put it around the edges of where I have the gray. So I'm not so much on this side, but kind of under on this side. Kind of in the middle there. Okay, and there's some clouds that are this color that's going to come across. Add a little bit of water to them and tap it off like I did with the Deerfoot. Okay. I'm going to mix the dark color again, and I don't want a whole lot on the brush, and I'm just kind of putting those out some, coloring out the edge so it's not like perfect. Alright. Okay, so now for like the final parts. I'm going to do let's see, it's a lot of yellow. I'm going to do mainly white. I've got a little bit of yellow, cadmium yellow, and just a little bit of the burnt sienna. So I just want it like this light yellow color. And we put that in here. So especially in the bottom, these big clouds here. This is when it's really gonna start looking better, is when we start getting the lighter clouds in. Okay. Okay, so alright, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to get the white and scrub that in right along where the edge of that yellow is. I'm going to scrub out the edges of the dark color to kind of soften them. going to take this yellow and just do the last, there's like this really strong cloud. It's coming right across this dark. And it's very yellowy. And it's going to have this gray in it. Okay, and I'm going to get the dark color and just put a little bit of that in it and kind of scrub in, filling in these areas of dark that are kind of still see-through. Alright, so I'm going to kind of leave those clouds alone now. I might just do a little bit more white along here and softening some of that up. And I might add some more really light in here. Alright, so let's move on. Okay, I'm going to do the last little thing to the buildings. I'm going to get the bright yellow and put that in certain places. Some of it doesn't need it, but let's kind of give some really bright. And I'm going to get some burnt sienna and do the same thing with that we did with the burnt umber earlier. Just kind of put some hints of red in these little lines and things. Alright, so now I'm going to let that dry, and I'm going to just put it over here for a minute, and we can draw the Eiffel Tower. So we can start by putting a point up here and then straight down. You may want a ruler for this. Go straight down and then across, and then you'll see that the legs kind of come off. Let's see, it's a lot skinnier than that. Okay, so it's really skinny, and it'll come off here, and then pretty soon after getting these legs, it'll kind of have this area that comes off. So these are like kind of curved. The base is kind of curved, then it comes out this, and there's like this line and this ground line was just kind of to help us see where to put it. That's not actually part of the Eiffel Tower. So there's like this line, and you can like draw this on the canvas if you want to. I don't think I might just do some like the basic shape and then do the details just with the paint. I might do it freehand, I don't know, but might be too scary to do freehand. You could draw it out and then take tracing paper and trace it on and have like all the details in there. So kind of if you follow this line, it'll like, you can imagine it coming up right here and going in. Now it's curving kind of inward. This was outward, this is inward. And comes up actually a little less than halfway. You want to try to get the sides even, which I'm not doing a very good job of. And there's going to be another piece that comes across and out. It's kind of slanted because it's going around building. And like in these shapes, there's like lines and things like that, but we can paint those in. You don't have to draw them. We can just do that with the paint. And this is kind of crooked, so I really need new glasses, so I feel today, I don't know if it's just because it's in the morning and I'm all tired, but it's like, you're watching it at 1 o'clock, but I'm actually doing this a different day. It's not Friday, it's another day, and it's kind of early, so early-ish. It's not really super early, but for some reason I just really, my eyes do not feel like they're focusing very well. So then this rest kind of just comes and it quickly gets skinny. And it's pretty much straight. There's not really any curve to it at this point. Okay, so then we can mark that off. And I'm going to erase this line so we can see what we got. Alright. And really comes in faster than that, so it's like I think it just might be because mine should be skinnier, but okay. And then there's like this part that comes around the top and up. And then there's this piece that's kind of like, it goes straight up to a point like that. And there's like, actually like a, there's all these detail parts. So there's like a piece coming like up in here. And all these sections are like, there's like a bunch of lines. And then it cuts off kind of by this area here. And so each one of these has like an X in it. So that's kind of these have X's in them. And it gets, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it's more like an impressionist painting, but that's kind of the basic shape. And really, actually, I didn't draw. There's like a section, and this kind of comes out. And then this is also has the X strokes, and then this comes around there's lines. So you're just, I'm not going to tell you when I'm doing every different line. So you're just going to have to like, I'm going to do it mainly in one color, just with the darker and the light. Burnt umber and burnt sienna yellow. So this is dry. Since I already showed you how to sketch it, I'm going to pause and sketch it in the actual painting, and then come back and actually paint it. Okay, so I drew it out and I cleaned my palette off while I did that so that I'll have clean spots to work on. So I just kind of did the basic outline, and there's like a little line in between this middle area here. I don't think I put on my drawing. So it's like right in there or something. So okay, so I'm probably, the two brushes I'm going to use are the 1/4 inch flat and the small round. Probably the two I'm going to use. So I think first I'll use the flat for the basic filling in. So I'm going to start by, I might just mix. I'm going to take my palette knife and mix up a bunch of colors, and then I can just put them out and maybe I'll zoom in, so I'll have all the colors pre-mixed. So I'm going to get a lot of yellow and some burnt umber, and we're probably going to use this color, but the first layer we may need to add white to this, just to get it to like cover, because this will be the same it was with the buildings. If we just put it on now, it'll be like a see-through building. So I'm going to add white to it. So there's one color. And then we've got the burnt sienna by itself and the burnt umber. I might do like a burnt sienna, see if it'll get up on the palette knife. A burnt sienna and burnt umber mixture. I've got some blue, but that's okay. And so, may not remember what the colors are, so this will be mixture number 1. This will be mixture number 2. And those might be the only 2 mixtures we're gonna actually have to do. If I add like a little bit more yellow to it, or a little bit more burnt sienna or whatever, I'll say that. So I'm just going to take the 1/4 inch flat and start with this first mixture with some white to get it to cover. Okay, and I'm going to zoom in, scoot everything over. Alright, so I'm going to start by putting this line down to the base. Do it on both sides. And then, I might just like fill in my basic shapes with this, like the outline, so that I'll know. I'll just have those outlines painted in. And if you get some lines off, it's not the end of the world. Like I said, it's impressionistic. If it was realistic, you would want to make sure you got like every line, like, you know, as real as you could. But we're not going to be so worried about it today. So there's like a line goes across here. Another line. Okay, and then I might take the second mixture now. It's darker. Just put in the legs. Let me push it up. So the legs go down into the trees. And then there's this circle. Semicircle, it's not really a circle. It's a curve. Okay. And we go back to that light yellow mixture. And there are these two lines come down. And the lines kind of continue. They skip this area and go down. Make sure I'm staying in the camera. Okay. And then there's these two lines across here. Some of this I may not even need to do because we do need to put some darker areas in. Alright, and then filling in this area here. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in this other kind of filled in area, and may just to get it in, put this thing there, and then how it comes down. And it's kind of changing the color to the actual color it is, so that's kind of cool. It's not exactly the color it is, but. Alright, so I'm rinsing my brush out. It kind of looks like a drawing or something at this point. Okay, so I'm going to take Burnt Umber and Ultramarine Blue just to make a gray, but it's more brown than blue. And I'm going to go kind of like in the dark areas. So there's that go dark area on those sides. And then there's darkness like all in here. Almost halfway. Kind of blends out. So there's some dark areas, so come in here. All in here is dark. So certain areas we're seeing straight through to the blue. In other areas we're seeing this dark because of like what's behind it. It's like just right to where you can't see any blue back there. I'm just going to fill this section in. So you want to make sure you're filling in the right sections. You wouldn't want to fill in a section that's not that dark. There's like in here. And here. Probably didn't even need to put those yellow lines that were those two. I'm just like covering them up now. But I think doing the basic outline helps. And then like right, let's see if I can push that up. Right in here. You don't want to go in that middle though. And there is some, let's see if you can see this. The tower is so big, I need to keep pushing it up and pushing it down. Okay, so there's like a dark area. It's pretty big all in here. So we're going past our line because there's a shadow, and this is like see-through at the moment. We're not able to see it as well, but we'll darken it up. Okay, so it's more of a shadow on, you can see more of the other side of the building on this side than this side. It's not a shadow, it's the other side of the building. All right, and then I'll do, there are little lines in this little section. Stick those in there. And then like some dark there. You need to remember not to be so picky about it. Okay, and in this little triangle, there's going to be some dark. But you want to leave those other areas blue. So this triangle is going to go right up to where the rest of the dark is. Okay? So, let's see. So in some of these areas where it's still, where I have already put the dark, I'm just going to make it darker. Oops. Too far there. And so I'm just going in the same areas. If I go off camera, I'm just doing the same areas. Other side of the building. All right, and actually there's some dark I didn't put down here. So let's see, there's, trying to see where this section is. So right in here, There's gonna be some dark. And a little bit over there. And then like pretty much this area is all going to be dark. And then down to the ground. So it's not too hard at this moment. I don't know, if you're a beginner, it might be hard, but it doesn't seem too hard. All right. So I'm gonna get. See, what color do I want? I'm going to get that same #1 color with the white, what I started the Eiffel Tower with, and I'm going to go on the sides of this triangular shape and up to the top. Okay, and I think I'll try taking just the #1 color plain by itself and color some of these areas that I already put the yellow. So I'm going to get a little bit of white with it, but not as much as I've been getting. Could probably use the same color, but okay, I'm going to do, see, these little 2 lines we did before. And if it's blending, you might want to stop and do it later. There's 2, or each one of those sections is split. And then there's in here, I'm just going to kind of scribble in some color in here. Just leave some of that dark showing. Okay, and then darken up these edges. Okay, I'm going to do the lines that are going across. So they start kind of like that size. And as they go up, they slowly are going to get smaller. So we've already got it going smaller. It may actually be a little more gradual than that, but okay. And I'm going to take my brush and just do the same color and put X's in each box. So this is like probably what's going to take a while is these boxes. Eventually you're not going to be able to use this brush because this is like just the perfect size. Eventually it's not going to be so. Okay, so now it's getting a little too small. I'm going to just stop. I'll do the others later. Alright. And see, this section gets cut off. And I'm going to get the second color that we mixed. Okay, and then I'm going to get the dark, like almost black color you've been using. Put it in those triangles. I'm going to take the second color, more reddish color, and put it in, just kind of dabbing through dark spots. And some lines. Okay. And okay, I'm going to work on this bottom. So I'm going to take that same light yellow color I've been using, and you might, if it's not flowing, you may need to add water, help it to flow. Okay, and there's about 4 different lines. So 1, 2, well actually 3 lines, 4 sections, really. Okay, and then in these there's going to be a line. And this tower is like super complex. It's got like tons of lines going everywhere. And then put X's in those. Okay. And then this line continues. And in here we can fill all this in. So you can see we're just like slowly adding lines and filling in different places. That will that just eventually will get the finished product. It'll just take a while of filling in and doing all these lines. So I'm going to take the dark burnt umber and ultramarine blue again, and in this area I'm just going to put little lines going down. Okay, and really when it gets to the end, they're like not there anymore. And at any point where it, it looks finished and I'm just going to be adding more detail, you can just stop, because if you are like, oh my goodness, this is taking forever and I don't really want this much detail, I don't really need it, well, you can stop. You don't have to, I mean, it's looking pretty good. I mean, it's obviously not completely finished, But if we put in a few more spots, it will, you know, it'll look pretty good without doing too much more to it. So, alright, and I think I'm going to rinse this brush out and move on to my round because it's getting a little big. May need that brush for few more spots, but so I'm getting my round, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this second color and put it in a few of these like dark areas, just to kind of turn them, you know, a little bit more red. I don't know, it's just what I want to do. Sometimes you may not really see a certain color in a certain spot, but you're just like, I think it'll look better, so you do it. Alright, and I'll put some dark between these. And I'm going to put some on like the edges of these. Alright, so now I'm going to take that first color with the white and now we got a second color. It's going to kind of go over. Okay, I'm going to take the second color we mixed now. Alright, and then back to the lighter. They don't even really need to look like X's at this point because it's so small. You could just kind of make it an indication that there's X's. Alright. Okay. And I'm going to take you didn't see all the way up there. There we go. Alright, and I'm going to take the like dark color we've been using for the shadows and put it right under here. And then for like this area, first I'm going to take that light color, the light color we've been using, and put it here. Put that back. And I'm going to get some of the darker color now, number 2 color. And we're going to start doing, we're going to mix actually number 1 color and number 2 color, the two that we started with. Kind of get like a middle of them in between. And there's going to be this area here. 2 lines here, cross, and then we're going to go X and do X's. So they're going to be kind of dark at the moment. Okay, now I'm going to take the lightest color and just highlight it a little bit. So every time that I like do it and then do it in a different color, it's just really adding that much more color and that much more detail. I'm going to take it, and there's like these circular shapes here. And then all in here, it's like a very fine pattern. I may even switch back because it's actually easier to get these little lines at the flat, I think. So I'm going to take it and tap a bunch of lines. And I'm going to kind of make it just look like a very fine thing. So I'm going to go some sideways strokes and some diagonal, just make it a very fine like pattern. Just some holes that are kind of popping through here and there. All right. Alright, so we've got most of the detail in here. I'm going to do some X's here. Okay, so yeah, the Eiffel Tower is going to be the hardest part of this whole thing. So yeah, I would say it's not a beginner painting, but if you think that the lines and stuff don't scare you, then go ahead and do it. Okay, so I'm going to do one more detail before putting like the really bright colors. I'm going to put that in there, and I'm going to do 1, 2 lines. Alright, so I don't know if it's like a reflection or what it is, but there on this picture there is some really bright color in these 3 areas. So I'm going to take cadmium yellow, medium, and white and put it in those 3 spots. Okay. Now, without using white, I'm going to use the color that we first mixed, the first color, by itself. So it's like this really bright orange color. I'm going to start at the top and add this brighter color to it. Just a little bit brighter. Some of these X strokes. Really, I'm kind of skimming over it because these dark areas aren't really going to show it up very well. So I'm not skimming over where the yellow, the blue's showing through though, because it would actually show that it was there. So I'm gonna do some brighter over here. if you didn't want to be as messy, if you wanted it to look more real, just kind of place your things. Place it where it's, you know, more of an actual pattern. Alright, and so then I'm just going to take the color we mixed of number 1 and number 2 together and mix it with the first color. So it's like a little bit more red. I'm just going to go put some red, still kind of see-through-ish. I'm just going to put some red hints in this. It's like a yellowish orange tower. Just kind of skim that on. So there we go. That's kind of, I think that's as far as I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to kind of pause the video and get some of that chalk line off, zoom it out, and so you can see the whole thing. Alright, so there it is. I still probably have some chalk lines on it, but it's kind of the tower there. I'm going to take a little bit of this color you just used and do that top a little brighter. Alright, and then because we like kind of cut off just out of nowhere, we just kind of cut the tower off, I'm going to take my stippler and take some green, that color there. I'm just going to stipple in some trees just to kind of cover it up. Take some yellow, kind of alright, so there's the Eiffel Tower. So you can see the lines aren't perfect, but it still looks like the Eiffel Tower. So you accomplished what you were trying to do, even if the lines aren't perfect. As long as it looks like the Eiffel Tower, it's good. So I'm going to take, if I can find it here, okay? So this is my Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. It's white for areas where I need a sign that's like darker. So just sign it. Let's see, I'll do it over here. And with this one, I tend to have to go over it several times. Just make sure when you sign it, you go like ½ an inch or fingers width away. Go like a fingers width away from the side. So if you frame it, it doesn't cover it up. Because these boards, they don't have any ridge, so if you were to actually hang it, you would need to either like do something to the back to make it hangable, or actually put it in a frame to be able to hang it, because there's nothing to hang it by itself. So alright, so there's the Eiffel Tower. It was about almost, actually less than what I don't know, I was kind of expecting it to be almost 2 hours. So yeah, that was pretty good. So like I said, you can put more details in the clouds, or more details in the Eiffel Tower, or the trees, whatever you want to do. So that kind of makes it fun when you can play around and experiment with it. So this is the schedule I had for July, and we just finished it. So if you want to see any of these other pictures, if you want to see me paint them, they're already on my channel. So there's some fun ones on there. The owl, I think out of all those, was the funnest one. The one that I think came out the coolest. It was very ugly. It had a very ugly stage. It was like really, really bad. But every painting has an ugly stage, and he sure did. But he turned out like really, really good. So I really like how he turned out. So this is what we're doing in August. So you've got some shells. That should be easy. And then like a landscape with a road, a parakeet. That should be an easier one, more of a beginner one. And then like a beach, cave, rock. I don't know exactly what I'm going to call, what you would call that. A rock something with beach. So these are like really pretty pictures to me. So this will be the hardest, I think, out of all of them. Out of these two, they're the hardest ones, but this one's going to be harder out of all of them. So, but these two should be easy for beginners. So if it's already been a month since this came out, those will probably already be done and on there, and we'll be painting something else for whatever month we're actually in when you're watching this. But yeah, so I hope you paint this and try it. Like the video and subscribe, and I hope you had fun. Thanks for watching. Bye.